Hello and welcome to a new edition of Eco Africa. Tackling the climate crisis takes skills and imagination. It means transforming the way we think about everything. And for that, we need people with vision and people with know-how. I am Chris Alems, coming to you from Lagos, Nigeria.
And I am Sandra Kahomza Twinobrio, joining you from Kampala. Well, we've got some great reports from across the continent this week that explore what it takes to change the game. Here is what we have coming up. How aquaculture is boosting food security and living standards in Nigeria. How the shoe industry in Brazil is going green. And find out how an island in Somalia is fighting energy poverty. But we start the show right here in Uganda. We are heading a little east of the capital to visit a female farmer who is showing just how much can be achieved with self-confidence, expertise, and a passion for sharing it. Allow me to introduce this week's eco-hero, a woman who has great energy and so many ideas to spare. She is not just tapping the potential of Uganda's young people, but the continent's potential to feed the world.
My name is Nalima Emma. I'm a vet by profession. I'm a mother, a wife, a farmer, and an educator. I'm 43 years old. We are in Bwerenga village, Wakiso district, in Uganda in East Africa. I started farming just to put food on my table. But what I did it so well that I had more than I needed to eat. Then I started selling. So I became successful in that when I'm like, okay, wait a minute. What if I pass on this knowledge to my community? Now you notice it's all clean, but in other places, if it's not clean, it will be moldy. Like now, you see? That means the people who washed the trays. It's not ours. The one you planted. No, ours. So we opened it to many people, and I'm happy that I've been able to train as many people as possible, youth, women, children. We've opened a school, MSc Junior School, and the stories, it's so satisfying. It's very satisfying when someone calls you saying, I came to your farm, you taught me this, now I have this. But many people called back saying they have food on their table, and I'm proud of that. I love animals, so I treat animals. I listen to them, I care for them. You're good? Being a farmer is a noble job, because if, as a farmer, I don't keep my animals, I don't keep the cows and get milk out of them, I don't dig, I don't get vegetables and everything, then you people won't be able to eat. Actually, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher, but in school, actually, in this school, we do a lot of practicals. So, MSc Junior School is called Math, Science, and Technology. Our vision is to make sure that every child, tap each child's potential through farming. It's a normal school with a bias to agriculture, so we use agriculture to teach.
Some few plants have twin system, like that plant over there.
So, we are not training them to become farmers, but we're giving them skills, because farming makes you patient. There's so much, like a farmer, being a farmer is something that, I don't know, there's so many skills there, there's so many virtues there. Team building, responsibility. They have this plant they're going to look after. They have this chick they're looking after till the end. I see what we've gone through with the children, the way we nurture them. They're confident, they touch, they feel, they understand.
Just place in the soil,
If I had the powers, I'd make sure every school is like my school. I've achieved so many accolades and awards as a farmer. Things I'd never thought. I was best farmer 2014. When I gave birth to my last born, she's now 4. So I just come out of hospital. 3 days out of hospital, I received a phone call from President Obasanjo saying, wow, you won the Africa Food Prize 2019. And I'm like, oh. So, and this is something, you know, it's not a competition. You don't know they are watching you, and you know. So it was something nice. I believe in myself, and I have this thing that, sorry for men, but what a man can do, a woman can do 3 times better.
What an impressive woman, and one with a clear message. There is simply no way around it. We need to become more self-sufficient if we want to reduce our ecological footprint. That means adapting to current climate conditions, not least to ensure ourselves a healthy and stable food supply.
That's right, Sandra. Here in Nigeria, there are efforts underway to do just that. Some regions have set up domestic fish farms. It's a way to not only reduce the need to import supplies, the shorter transport routes are also much better for the environment.
These catfish need to be fed several times a day. Sheon Ogunlano has been raising fish for a decade and now has 4 ponds full of them. And he's not alone. Here in southwestern Nigeria, not far from Lagos, some 1,200 farmers work together to operate the large Eriwe fish farm. For them, breeding the popular catfish is a solid business.
We actually stock about nothing less than 5,000 pieces in the pond. So after putting them in the pond, we make sure that we do feed them like 3 to 4 times in a day.
To keep costs low, the collective processes waste that it buys from food producers. The farmers use the waste to produce 1 to 2 tons of fish food each day, or up to 6 tons during peak periods. It's cheaper, more eco-friendly than imported food.
The waste products we use are groundnut cake, which is produced from after extracting oil from groundnut. We have byproducts from poultry, which is poultry meal. It is gotten when poultry products are processed after they have been processed. The edible one has been processed. We have cocoa shaft, which is gotten from cocoa. We have cassava flour, which is gotten from cassava peels.
A simple, sustainable method that benefits everyone. That was also the idea behind the fish farm when it was founded 20 years ago. Eriwe Farm Village began as a project of Nigeria's Ogun State and local communities to combat poverty in the region and help people earn a stable income. And it worked. The fish farmers now make a good living. The water in the ponds is changed every day, but that doesn't pose a problem. There's enough water in the region to go round. And while the wastewater is fed directly into the Eriwe River, it's not yet clear whether or not it's having an impact on the local environment. The Eriwe fish farm sells around 5 tons of fish every day, and demand is rising due to Nigeria's continued population growth. Experts believe aquaculture could play an important role in achieving food security here.
It enables the community to produce variety of food items. Animal protein, that is the fish, so that can enrich the food base, the food requirements, whereby the community will have an array of valuable food materials.
To make this kind of aquaculture more sustainable and widespread, various international projects have been launched in the country. Eriwe Farm Village began taking part in one such project in 2022 and holds trading sessions on site. The focus is on eco-friendly farming methods and offering alternatives to commonly used chemical antibiotics.
Salt and some other things, some vegetables, some leaves are good antibiotics, and the fact that they are natural, it helps us, it assures us that we are not doing something toxic to the environment and to the fish and to the people at large.
Sheol Obulano once aimed to become an accountant, but being a fish farmer has proven a lucrative alternative for him and many others. And in future, the collective would like to use its wastewater for crop farming, making aquaculture even more sustainable.
Africa has a problem with discarded textiles sent here from other parts of the world, often of poor quality. They can't be sold on markets and pile up in landfills, those having severe environmental impact. What can be done with all those shirts, jeans and blouses? Well, a startup in South Africa may have the solution.
These young entrepreneurs are on a mission to defend the environment against never-ending textile waste. They snatch up off-cut fabric, end-of-rolled pieces, unsold inventory, and clothing rejects, and give them a second chance at life.
Yeah, this is an example of some of the... Well, I'm wearing a recycled t-shirt right now. So these are the products that we actually eventually want to make.
The Global South is becoming the textile dump of the Global North. Every day, almost 200 tons of textile waste are dumped in landfills in African countries. These 200 tons are equivalent to more than 10,000 African elephants. Decomposing fabrics release harmful greenhouse methane gas, while toxic chemicals and dyes seep into the groundwater and soil. But Ese Kusenga and her friends have vowed to do their bit with rewoven, inspired by their own hometown, a major manufacturing hub.
So we have about 300 or so clothing manufacturers operating in South Africa, about half of them on the Western Cape. So we wanted to start something to solve that problem, but at the same time create jobs, but at the same time also create an innovative solution.
Their initiative makes sure fewer textiles end up in landfills by collecting clothing headed for dump sites from manufacturers and selling them to recyclers who process the material into fiber and thread for fabric production. Rewoven also uses the fiber to make footwear and different kinds of textiles. The company collects 70 tons of textile waste a month. It's just 1% of Western Cape waste. The team says finding recycling machinery in South Africa is a big challenge. Still, it plans to expand to other provinces and continue to clean up the polluting textile industry.
Who doesn't love a new pair of shoes? But have you ever thought about the ecological footprint? From South Africa, we head now to South America and Brazil, where the footwear industry is making big strides towards sustainability. The first step is ditching leather made from animal hides. For now, 99% of the leather produced worldwide is from livestock. But there are more alternatives than ever. And these materials come from some very unexpected sources. Let's find out more.
Casual, comfortable, elegant, leather footwear. Many of us can't imagine life without it. The Brazilian footwear sector alone produces around 800 million pairs each year. It's a huge branch, but how sustainable is it? The tanning process requires vast quantities of hazardous chemicals such as tannin, chromium, and aluminum. Tanneries can leave workers with health problems, and they take a heavy environmental toll.
There's a big disconnect between what the market wants, and the market doesn't want environmental destruction. People want shoes. People want handbags. They don't want destroyed Amazon.
But the environmental organization Stand.Earth has established that major international brands are partly responsible for the destruction of the Amazon. It examined the supply chain of 100 companies around the world. In 2022, around 12,000 square kilometers of Amazon rainforest were cleared, primarily for cattle ranching for beef and leather production.
So the incentive, and that's why we did this supply chain study, was to connect the dots to the actual brands, because the brands can make strong demands of their suppliers, which then trickles up the supply chain eventually to the government.
Arezzo, one of Brazil's leading footwear manufacturers, is keen to prevent deforestation. A few years ago, the company launched the Alma brand, which replaces leather with cotton and synthetic materials. Arezzo still uses leather for its other brands, but it strives to source it sustainably.
We have a thriving project which runs until 2026-2030. It focuses on leather traceability to ensure that the leather used by Arezzo in all the group's brands is not involved in deforestation.
Research into alternatives to leather is booming. A vegan hide grown with the help of bacteria has already been produced in the laboratory. It takes just 3 weeks to produce it, and no animals are harmed in the process. Fibers extracted from foods such as pineapple are also being used to make products that have a texture very similar to leather. Fungi fashion, shoes made from mushroom leather, is in growing demand. The material is made from mycelium, which is basically threads from the root structure of fungus. The production process doesn't even require chemicals. Rio Grande do Sul is Brazil's shoe manufacturing hub. The industry generates 83,000 jobs. Efforts to make it more sustainable are underway. The company Urban Flowers, for example, doesn't use leather. It makes high-quality vegan footwear.
When we first opened the factory, breaking into the footwear industry was very challenging. It traditionally uses leather that's made from various animals. But we broke with that and created our own business based on new ideas.
All of the footwear is handcrafted. 60 pairs are made each day. In addition to maintaining high-quality standards, reducing waste is a key priority.
The fabric we use is industry surplus, so we're using materials that would otherwise go to waste. We collect it and reuse it to make our shoes. And our glue is water-based, so it doesn't have chemical components that pollute the environment. It also means it's easier to clean the footwear and makes it more durable.
Urban Flowers customers are making a conscious decision not to buy leather, a choice that's becoming more popular all over the world. The more sustainable the footwear industry becomes, the lighter our environmental footprint.
We are pretty used to charging our phones when and wherever we need to. But imagine living on an island with no electricity. What would you do when your battery runs out? That's just one of the challenges people face who lack access to energy. It's a major problem for marginalized communities around the world.
That is very true, Chris. Our reporter visited the Lower Shabelle region in Somalia to find out how an innovative solar installation project is tackling energy poverty and making the lives of locals much easier.
Ayo Ahmed Osman is pleased, especially since she's only drawing water from this well today to show how hard it used to be just to fetch the precious resource for use at home.
We used to walk more than 3 kilometers from home looking for water. And we'd bring jerry cans to carry it. The water was salty and dirty. We would wash clothes near the well.
But big changes have come to the little village of Abaidaksan. The 1,000 residents of this peninsula at the gates of Somalia's capital Mogadishu finally have electricity. It's even solar-powered.
Charging our phones used to be a big problem. We'd walk a long way to Jazeera to charge them and pay 50 US cents. Some of the poor couldn't afford that. But now our homes have power 24 hours a day.
Most people on the peninsula live from fishing, like Mohammed Abu Abdi Haji. His catch used to spoil in the heat before he could take it to the market in Mogadishu. The solar-powered freezers help the fish stay fresh longer.
I don't worry about the 2 fish I caught because the solar company Tamarso brought the freezer where the fish will remain until a driver comes to pick them up. I'm sending them to market and expect to sell them for $30 each.
The electrification program here could serve as a model for positive changes in the country on the Horn of Africa. Somalia was long viewed as a failed state.
This is a developing country recovering from insecurity and civil war. Around the year, Somalia is sunny, and this need is to be exploited. There are Somali companies, Somali private companies, that have already started to invest in solar energy.
The company Tarmaso is now promoting one of these projects in Abaidaksan. This mini-grid solar plant with a 10 kilowatt capacity lies at the heart of it. It should provide all of the roughly 150 houses with electricity. And she is making sure that it all goes to plan. Jahwir Muhammad is a trained electrical engineer. The plant provides the village with electricity around the clock, even if the sun isn't shining.
During the day, it will be charging the batteries and give an energy to the cooling system that we support the shop and the fisheries people in Abaidaksan with. And during the night, it will supply the village with electricity that we have been used during using the batteries.
Now, it's even easier to get water. An electric pump draws water from this well on the mainland to the peninsula, where it collects in this water tank and is distributed to the households. Now, the water comes right out of the tap. Ayo Ahmed Osman no longer needs to schlep it all the way when she wants to cook for her family of 7.
Now I can get some rest and have tap water in my home, pumped by solar power. We used to fetch water and carry it here from far away. Now I have clean water to drink.
On to the next installation, the mini-grid company's 4 technicians first met with skepticism. Some doubted whether solar power was as good as conventionally generated electricity, or they were superstitious and feared that the technology could harm them. Others were simply worried about the costs.
That's why in the first 2 months we didn't have a lot of people. After that we decided that we won't take an installation money from the people. We will just take the monthly expenses, that is $10 per month.
This family decided to jump on the bandwagon. A light bulb is being installed and a fast television is opening new horizons.
In the last 30 years, we didn't know what was going on in the outside world. But after we installed solar power and started watching TV at home, that's changed.
The mini-grid costs about $70,000. International donors contribute 60% via Africa Enterprise Challenge Fund. The World Bank covers the remaining 40% as a loan. The mini-grid will turn a profit for Tarmaso in 2 years' time. Jahwir Mohammed is training new solar technicians for the company. Such experts are urgently needed as Somalia, with foreign aid, is increasingly counting on solar energy. At sundown, socializing outdoors used to come to an end in Abaidaksan. But thanks to the electricity stored in the mini-grid's battery, there is now light after dark and a lot of activity.
Now, Tamarso gives us electricity and installs lights on the roads. All of our children and old people are playing and chatting outdoors. We are grateful.
The solar project on Abbey Daxon is serving as an example to the region. 300 more households nearby are now getting their own solar-powered mini-grid.
Thank you for joining us here today. We hope the program gave you something to think about. I am Sandra Kahomuza Twinobio and saying goodbye from here in Kampala, Uganda.
Bye, Sandra. See you next time. And to all our viewers out there, do you have any thoughts or ideas on ways to build a better future? Write, share them with us. We'll always love hearing from you. I'm Chris Alem saying so long from Lagos, Nigeria.